Donald Trump's defense team has one job tomorrow, and that is to whittle away at the credibility of the prosecution's star witness, former Trump fixer Michael Cohen. Court is dark today, but back in session tomorrow morning, and Cohen will be back on the stand for more cross-examination. Former Trump attorney Tim Parlatore is joining us now to talk about what is ahead. First, Tim, let's look back a little bit and see how it's gone so far. How has Cohen come across? Has he been credible, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's difficult for somebody with that history to generally come across as credible, but from what I hear, he has been connecting with the jury and really kind of telling them the story. So it is something that they've done a good job of trying to corroborate the pieces that they can, and hope that the jury will connect with them on the pieces that they can't.
He has kept his cool as well, which I think has worked in his favor. Does Todd Blanche need to approach this a different way or change strategies to try to effectively ding Cohen's credibility?
Yeah, if all you do is just focus on things that people have said before and just attack their character, you're not really getting to the heart of his testimony. And so I think what Todd Blanche really needs to do is to refocus on inconsistencies within the testimony itself. Take things that he said on direct, and if you can show the jury, really that he lied about anything during the questioning by the prosecutors, I think that that's going to be much more effective than just simply saying, you said this on TikTok about Donald Trump, you said this on TikTok about me, or something like that.
Cohen
talked. And I think that he does have some good things to go after.
Yeah, there's certainly, he did do it a little bit. We saw that, or we read that. Cohen talked a little bit about how he still lives in a Trump building, how he had read Art of the Deal twice, had deep admiration for Donald Trump. Those were all revealed actually in cross-examination by Trump's lawyer. And Cohen said as well that he had been under the spell of the cult of Trump. I was just reading it because obviously there's no cameras in there. We can't see it on video, but I sort of wondered if that didn't make him appear sympathetic to the jury rather than the opposite. What did you think?
I think it does, because he has to explain why the massive change of heart. He has to. There are so many inconsistent statements in his past, from the time when he was loyal to Trump to the time that he was, antagonistic to Trump. And so he really has to explain why that is. And I think that that's something that Todd Blanche should go into much more detail on cross-examination, getting a lot more deep than just simply saying, that I was very loyal to him and then I sat down with my family and I changed my mind. I think there's a lot more to it that he's got to unpack and explain the dichotomy there.
So much of what's happening it doesn't actually have anything to do with what the jury is seeing. You had the House Speaker writing to court with Trump along with Vivek Ramaswamy on Tuesday. The day before it was Senators Vance and Tuberville. I'm sure there's going to be more who's who tomorrow. What does it say to you about where the Republican Party, historically the party of law and order, is at the moment, where you have top leaders accompanying Trump to his criminal proceedings?
Well, I don't know how effective that's going to be for the jury. I mean, I heard that there was an incident where a couple of elected officials walked in, made kind of a bustle, not waiting for a break. And so I think that when you do that kind of thing, it does have the potential for a negative impact, on the jury. And again, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a political guy, so what effect does that have on the party is something for somebody else to comment on. But I don't think that doing that kind of theatrics within the courtroom is going to necessarily be helpful, especially when you have the judge who apparently was visibly annoyed by that as well. That also has an effect on the jury.
Do you think that Trump might testify? Do you think he should testify?
I think it's a possibility. I think he should not, though. There's no benefit to him testifying here, because the single thing, everybody talks about the hush money payments and everything else, but the reality is what he's charged with is these false business records, whether those checks, the annotation on them for legal fees, whether that was knowingly false by him. And I think that that is, one of the key pieces of Michael Cohen's testimony that's not corroborated. So do you really need Donald Trump to get on to say, I didn't know that, is that really going to help him, especially on balance of all the potential negative and unpredictable effects of him doing that? So if I were there, I would be telling him, please do not testify.
Yeah, I think we'll all be very surprised if it does happen, but sometimes with Donald Trump, anything can happen. So we'll wait to see how this all goes. Tim, thank you so much. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you.